Good evening from the Southern Oregon coast, and welcome to the James and Randall show. I'm Randall, and on the line with me is my colleague and good friend from the great state of Oklahoma, James. James, we got a big one tonight.
That's right. It's the December 21st, 2012 Doomsday Prophecy.
Amen to that, my brother. And how many of the folks around the world do you really think believe that this is going to happen?
You know, if I had to put a guess on it, Randall, I would say maybe 10% of the people around the world maybe believe in this, and that's just a out there guess. I have no, data to back that up, but that would be my guess, probably about 10% or less.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. I was going to put it at about 15%. You know, a lot of people are acting weird, lately. It's just been, it's been strange. I mean, all the problems that we're having in the world right now, and everything going on. It seems like that the world's going to end, but really, it's not what an outside influence is going to do to us. It's what we're doing to ourselves.
No, I agree. And with all of the turmoil in the world today, between that and the natural disasters that just seem to be hitting the world left and right, I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, it's really crazy. You know, the Mayans, their calendar supposedly stopped on this day. Now, there's several reasons that could have happened. Number one, maybe their civilization stopped on this day coming up. Or number two, maybe they just quit writing the calendar. What do you think?
That's been my theory all along. There's got to be a point where you just stop figuring the days. I mean, they figured up so far ahead of their time. There had to be a time somewhere that the calendar had to stop. It couldn't go on for, forever. So my theory has always been that, this is just where they decided to stop.
Well, I kind of think I agree with you a little bit there, but also let's talk about some things that you and I talked about years ago. There are some hieroglyphics in the Arizona area up on the high mountaintops. Tell everybody a little bit about those hieroglyphics and what they have written in stone up there.
Well, years ago, back in 1994, I was taken to a remote canyon in Arizona, and up on a plateau, there was a little passageway where you had a rock face on one side and boulders on the other, and this is a spot that you would just really have to exactly know where it's at to ever find it. This was in the middle of nowhere. We were 70 miles from the nearest community, and on those stones were carvings of antelope and elk and different animals, and then there were spacecraft. There were men with guns in their hands. There was a man in a suit with a bubble around his head with lightning bolts coming out of it, and these were right along the side carvings of animals and handprints that had been marked on the stone. Just unbelievable. So, but there's stuff like that all over the world. So I really think that we've had contact with other civilizations. You look at some of the Mayan architecture and their artwork, and you see things that are just unexplainable. They look like astronauts and people with breathing apparatuses and spaceships. I don't know how to explain all that, Randall.
Well, I don't either. And the funny thing is, we've got to ask ourselves, could this come from another world? I mean, were these people instructed or shown what to write on these cliffs? You got to wonder that. And, in the absence of really any evidence whatsoever that there are UFOs, who else could have done this?
Absolutely right. There is stonework in different places of the world that our best stonemasons today could not replicate with modern tools. So there's no way the ancients could have done that with the primitive tools they had. There had to be some divine intervention somewhere along the way. There had to be some sort of intelligence with superior tools, superior ways of doing things that had to show or even do some of these places, that are just unbelievable.
I agree. There's no way that the exact measurements of these pyramids that were built, we can't even duplicate it with the science we have today. They didn't have mathematics or science or languages. They just did it. But how did they do it? There's no way they had the intelligence.
That's right. And I just wonder if the whole Mayan calendar, it's so accurate that it is, we could not have done it any better ourselves with the technology we have today. So for those people, those ancient, so-called primitive people, to do that is just mind-boggling. Now, if their calendar stopping means the world is going to end, I don't know.
Well, I don't know that it will either. Let's try to put our viewers and our listeners at ease. First of all, there was some talk about the planets aligning and throwing the polarity of the magnetic field off on the Earth. Well, first of all, if those planets were aligning or even coming close to aligning, our astrologists would have seen that. We have eyes in the sky.
That's right, and they have, NASA has announced recently that, that doomsday prophecy thing and all of that is not going to happen. There was even one scientist that a while back said that the date was actually already passed like a year ago or 2 years ago. So, I really think we're going to wake up December 22nd and kind of smile and giggle just a little bit. But, what's not a laughing matter is all of the strange activity that's going on around the world with natural disasters, Randall. This is something that we really need to look at because it's getting scary.
It is culminating into a lot of disasters. We've had so many storms. We've had earthquakes. We've had tsunamis in the past year and 2 years. But, earthquakes and tsunamis we can't really predict. We can predict a tsunami after an earthquake, but we can't really, give an idea of the magnitude of its size. But there are things that we can predict. And like I said, we have eyes in the sky. There's no asteroids coming at us right now. There's no meteors or comets. So let's put everybody's mind at ease about that. But really, are we destroying ourselves from within because we are bringing a lot of this on us, James?
We very well could be. But if the world's going to end, I think it will be by the hand of man, more than likely. Eventually the world would get destroyed by, a meteorite or anything like that. It's just a matter of time, whether that's 1,000 years or 5 million years. But, long before then, unfortunately, I think if things don't change in the world, that we'll destroy ourselves.
Well, I agree 100%. I don't think it's going to come from God, or I don't think it's going to come from Mother Nature. We are helping things along by not sticking together, not loving one another, not bringing family back to where it should be, that it was like 50 to 100 years ago. We're separating ourselves from the good of God, and we're trusting that we are going to be okay. But are we really going to be okay? I don't know.
I don't know either, Randall, and that's just something that, we just have to hope and pray for the best and trust in our leaders and the leaders of the world to make the right decisions and try to keep the world safe. It's a crazy times. It really is. We see it every day.
Well, our economic times are bad right now, and we can't blame any one person. It's a culmination. We got to remember that we're all involved in this nation, and this nation was born and raised by hardworking citizens and strong families, and we've kind of gotten away from both of those. Our families, it seems like they're falling apart in many ways, and our ethics to work, there isn't a whole lot of that out there anymore. So once we destroy ourselves from within, the exterior has no chance of surviving.
That's very true, Randall. That's very true. A lot of things need to change, and it's going to take effort from everybody. And unfortunately, everybody won't give that effort. So who knows? I don't have the answers, and we can only sit back and watch and see what happens. We can do our part and encourage everybody to do their part, but we'll just have to sit back and see. It's interesting times.
Yeah, it is, and I'm sure that we're all going to wake up Saturday morning, the 22nd, and just kind of scratch our heads and say, we dodged another one, but we really haven't dodged another one. Because if we don't look within ourselves and start to put together the pieces that this country was founded on and built on, we won't have to worry about a meteorite, or we won't have to worry about anything else, a tsunami, an earthquake. We're going to destroy ourselves from within. So if anybody has any questions concerning our show tonight, please send us out an email at jamesrandalltalk@gmail.com. One more time, that's jamesrandalltalk@gmail.com. Please let us know what your thoughts are on December 21st, 2012. It's coming up rapidly, and that's why we really felt the need to get this show out tonight.
Thanks for tuning in to this special episode of the James and Randall Show. Please send us your emails, and we'll be looking forward to hearing from you.
Well, listen, James, it's been great talking to you once again. We're going to get together again next week. So I'm going to say so long, and we are done from the Southern Oregon coast.
And the great state of Oklahoma. Good night.
Good night.